This video is cannabis growing edutainment created for viewers aged 18 and over. By continuing to watch, you confirm that you are 18 years of age or older. All activities depicted in this video are conducted in compliance with our laws here in Canada. Okay, now we know you're a grown-up. Welcome to GrowDaddyTV.
Hey everybody, I'm Mrs. GrowDaddy, aka Allie, aka Big L, and welcome to GrowDaddyTV Studios. Yeah,
come on.
The reason you're seeing me here today is because, GrowDaddy went to Vegas for a few days, and he left me in charge of everything, which I didn't totally screw up. You'll find out more about that later.
5 days. I left for 5 days. 5 days is 5 days I gave you in the tent.
I know. Anyway, just to let you guys know what we're all doing here. We have a 4-plant grow here that we grow legally in Canada. It's an indoor, it's all organic. We just grow in soil with water. So here we are, we're on day 78 of this grow. So that's since we put them in their little seed pod, their little peat pods, and we flipped them 18 days ago. So we're actually in week 3 of the flower stage, because when we flipped them, we just changed the light cycle from 18.6 to 12.12. So we only saw pistils about a week ago, I think. But anyway, they spent some time.
10 days. It was 10 days.
10
and
days
today's what? Day what? A flower.
18.
So 8 days ago we saw the pistil.
And we go through every single aspect of the grow. I'll put some side panels up here so you can even read along if I...
What did I do in the tent this week before I left for Vegas? Because that was this week.
What, before you left for Vegas?
Well, yeah, it's part of the stuff I did in the tent this week.
Yeah, you totally defoliated. You defoliated like crazy. You took these ladies down, and they were pretty bushy.
That was 1 week ago, 7 days ago, I think. I did it right after our show on Tuesday. What's that, 11 days ago?
8 days
8 days ago. 8 days ago, I did a complete defoliation on everything. And I left it up to Mrs. GrowDaddy after that. But I took everything down, and things are looking really good in the tent. We're going to do some more defoliation. We'll talk about that. Yeah,
I was supposed to do a little more grooming than I did, but there's more later. Anyway, let's talk about the light, okay?
Yeah, let's get to the light, Mrs. GrowDaddy. Let's go through it. Everything you did in the tent this week.
I know, right?
I covered what I did. I defoliated, and then basically I just handed the baton to you for the rest of the week. Gave you a few simple instructions, nothing that was going to overwhelm you. I told you how to prepare the water without using the pH pen. I wasn't making you do anything except water and make sure the girls didn't die, right? In any way, the fans were all on. How did you do?
They're alive, right? Let's start out with what I did with the lights this week. We are using Mars Hydro SP 3000 lights, which we really do like, and they're currently at this 12-12 light cycle because they've been flipped to flower. They hang 8 inches from the plant. 18 inches.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, this is great. I'm on this side of the camera, and I'm correcting you. I kind of like this. Go ahead. Go ahead, you little nervous Nelly.
I know.
Go ahead. Look at that. I hit the camera and shook it all over the place.
I'm getting a taste of my own medicine, right?
Yes, you are, and I'm going to give it to you. But you're doing a great job, Mrs. GrowDaddy, and overall, I think you did a great job. We are going to have to clean up a little bit of a mess, but it's not a mess as much as it is. I would have to say you just didn't keep up on your chores in the tent.
These lights are hanging 18 inches above the canopy. That's approximately 46 centimeters. And they're drawing, see, we've got these things over here. These are watt meters, and that really shows us how much light we're really getting on, so we can really
and how much power we're using. It gives us a good idea. Now we could use those little dials.
Yeah.
But for me, using watts, it's an easier thing to write down, than I turned it 3/4.
Yeah, because these dials are really super fiddly.
And as we've talked about before, Mrs. GrowDaddy, having that watt meter always ensures, when we look at that watt meter, ensures our lights are working, because without a watt meter, your lights might not be working correctly and you would never know it.
Yeah, you can't see that with the naked eye if
it's just I would like to, after 9 grows, I still consider myself an amateur, but I like to say that was a pro tip.
Pro tip, yeah.
Yeah, that was a pro tip.
So anyway, here we are. We're drawing 240 watts right now. Last episode, we were at like 100 watts.
8 days ago.
Yeah, 8 days ago we were at 100 watts. Then we went up to like 150, I think, and now we're at 240. So we've been bumping that up, and partly just because these ladies were stretching.
That
so
was my
fast.
biggest reason for putting up the light, was to help the stretching in that tent, to help it stop stretching.
Yeah. Basically, we don't want them to stretch too much, so increasing the light can kind of slow down the stretch. And they're getting approximately 700 par on the canopy. We're in week 3 of flower here, so basically we've got a few more weeks left, and we're gonna pump that up.
It's only 40 more watts. We're gonna within the next week we'll be up to 280 running full blast in here. So it doesn't have a lot more to go. And I'll tell you what, I've been moving it up, and I can see the girls. For the most part, they're either laying flat or they're praying, which is telling me they love the light and they're doing really well. So what'd you do in the tent this week with water, Mrs. GrowDaddy?
Well, I kept detailed records, which we can put on the spreadsheet.
I don't think so. I don't think so. We've done a lot of that, and you did keep detailed records like I do every day, and you watered accordingly with the blue map meters, and I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
You know, I gave you a lesson plan before I left, and you followed it. How did it seem to work? Good?
Absolutely perfect. The watering was really not my challenge, to be honest. I mean, I just, every morning, I'd go fill up the big, heavy 5-gallon bucket full of water in the bathtub, drag it in here at 6 o'clock in the morning, add like a scant quarter teaspoon of ascorbic acid.
And what does that do? What does that do? People don't know what that does.
Well, guess what? It eliminates not only chlorine, but also chloramines. And plus that, it has a added effect of kind of pHing it down a little bit, because we get a little bit of high pH out of our taps.
Yeah, we get about 7.5 or 7.4 out of the taps, and that seems to, when I put that in the water in that quarter, a little less than a quarter of a teaspoon in a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, so we kind of aim it around 6.5-ish.
Yeah, but I'm really good with it. You know, at 7. 7's good because that's great for the microbes.
Guess what? I didn't measure the pH. I just sort of went like,
I told you not to. I was trying to.
You told me take this spatula, stir it up, just walk away. So I'd let it, you know, I'd let it sit there for a couple hours till like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
It would kind of come up, you know, a little bit room temperature, and then I would just have to. I had to take.
Those are your measuring tools. Okay, and you water with that, you measure with that.
Scoop out like exactly 2.1 liters. Pour it in very carefully, not
2.7 liters, I noticed you watered Faith. I mean, she is drinking. She is drinking. Well, it sounds like you had an exciting time in the tent watering. Anything else about the watering or anything?
Yeah, you know what was fun? It was fun using these blue matte moisture meters. Okay, now, we use these moisture meters that you push the button and it tells you how many millibars. It's a reading. It goes anywhere from like 0 up to infinity or whatever. And
we've included that in a lot of our previous episodes of how I go about watering. So if you want to go back and look at a couple of our previous videos, we'll put a card up, right? Where do we put that card up, Mrs. GrowDaddy?
Somewhere.
We'll put it somewhere. We'll put a card up of somewhere in one of the videos where we were.
Millibars, and I think I can. I've got a sidebar.
I think it's not really necessarily how to read millibars. It's how do you water with millibars.
Yeah, so I've got a sidebar about that actually.
Very good.
So that basically you want to be around, like, I think it's like 50 to 120 millibars is like nice and moist. We're trying to keep these plants soil. We're trying to keep it moist,
but not wet.
Not wet and not super dry.
Yeah, but we lean towards the drier side rather than the wet side, don't we, Mrs. GrowDaddy? And you did a great job in the tent this week. The plants look absolutely fabulous.
And I'll give you the averages. I know you've been waiting.
Yeah. So anyway, tell me.
So Faith here, she's been drinking 2.5 liters a day for the past 7 days. Hope has been drinking 2.2 liters.
Wow.
Honor over here has been drinking 1.8
Oh, she went down in watering this week probably because of the...
she missed you.
She missed me. A little bit of the defoliation. Maybe she reacted a little bit to me defoliating. I took a lot off of her.
I think she was like...
Hey, I watered her good today. She took over 2 today, so...
Good. Anyway, Grace got 2 liters average, daily average over the past week too, so she's doing fine.
So they're all doing fine. I mean, Miss GrowDaddy, you did an outstanding job.
Well, thanks. I think that was the one thing I did right?
Yeah, you did that right, but in all fairness, Mrs. GrowDaddy, I didn't try to put too much on your plate.
Yeah, I know.
I gave you just a couple things to do, and I didn't want you to have to read any equipment. I basically told you how much...
Just measured the jug.
And I told you how much to put. So we made it real easy for Mrs. GrowDaddy. She didn't have to take out any meters.
No pH meters, no adding nutrients or anything. That's why our grow is so simple, right?
Exactly. And you raised the lights as the plants grew up. You kept the lights coming to 18 inches from wherever they were the next day.
I had to use this.
Absolutely. You got to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
check the canopy.
So, Mrs. GrowDaddy, we talked about the water. We talked about the lights, and you know what? You did a great job. I'm proud of you. How did you do on the environment? Because that's also pretty important too. What'd you do on, tell me about the environment that you had to work on in here and what kind of things you ran into.
That was my big freak out actually, because, well, here's the thing, okay, we're aiming around, now we're aiming between 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's 24 to 27 degrees Celsius. And the humidity, we're going for like 65 to 70, and just little snobby FYI, that's 0.53 to 0.66 kilopascal.
Yeah, and it's over here, right? You got to point to your chart over here that you're looking at. Remember that chart that you always make me point at?
It's a VPD chart.
That's right.
And you know what? We're a little lackadaisical. We're a little bit, you know, hither and thither.
Well, kind of. I mean, I look over the chart. We're in the ballpark, but you know what?
Yeah.
As long as you're in the ballpark, as I said, you shoot for some numbers.
I honestly really learned how much of a challenge it is to maintain that temperature, humidity. It's kind of tricky because we got like these fans, we got the dehumidifier. Oh, and that's another thing I did every single morning.
Was empty the dehumidifier.
Empty that dehumidifier, which was another dragging crap.
Oh, it's a lot of work. Yeah. I slave down here, Mrs.
Like
GrowDaddy.
I said, I've been working on these muscles.
I understand, but you don't understand the hard work. Now you understand. You understand. When I'm down here for hours, you understand all the hard work I'm doing. You hear that, ladies? Do you hear that?
Daddy loves you.
I want some daddy respect back here.
That's right. I remember I did kind of call you or got you to ask you to call me from Vegas because I was like, I've got some really frightening humidity levels here, and I'm really concerned.
What was the first thing I said?
You said you want to check those probes. They're probably touching the canopy, right?
Yeah, the probe, the temperature probes for the, and I knew they were in the canopy.
Damn things. Anyway,
she told me the humidity, and I said, no way, no way. It's not that. That the probe's in the canopy.
That was the problem. You were right. So that was a.
I was right. I love hearing that. You can't say that to me enough.
Babe, you were right.
Oh, I love it. You guys all heard it. I'm a witness. So.
You're gonna play that over and over. Why don't you come on down here?
Oh, hey. Well, okay. All right.
Everyone's been waiting for you.
All right. I'm coming back. I'm back.
I dread seeing this.
Hey, guys. How you guys doing? Good to see you guys. Back from Vegas yesterday. I am beat. I don't think I slept 10 hours the whole 5 days I was there. I know I played golf 2 days without any sleep. And just had a great time though, you guys. I'm glad to be back in the tent, and I worried about my girls while I was gone. So, you know what? I haven't been away for a long. You know, it's been a long time since I've been away, you know what? I got to get away more, Mrs. GrowDaddy. I didn't realize I would miss her, and I missed Miss GrowDaddy insatiably.
Aww.
And I missed the other girls. I missed everybody.
They really missed you. Oh my God.
That's why people do get away, so they can kind of have a little taste of what it's like to miss being back home. Anyways, I can hardly wait to get back home, and here I am. And I think I'm going to do the rest of the show, which let Mrs. GrowDaddy off the hook, because she took care of her end. She took care of these girls for a week. She got in front of the camera and talked about what she did in the tent. We got to give Mrs. GrowDaddy a hand. We got to give her a hand. Yes.
Aw. Shucks.
Wait. Golf clap. Clap. Anyways, Mrs. GrowDaddy did a great job. And well, she did a good job. We're gonna go over.
What else? Yeah, you'll get a close-up look.
In weed porn, we're gonna go over everything, and we're gonna show you what she didn't do in the tent, and we're gonna show you what she should have done, and what I'm gonna spend the rest of the day doing in the tent. That's what I'm gonna show you guys. So let's go take a look at weed porn right now. Come on! Welcome to our weed porn segment. We've made it. We've made it to tent 1, and this is where we have our TERPYZ genetics, our TERPYZ mutant genetics, and they look absolutely gorgeous. We have Faith and we have Hope, and Faith is our sacred cream. Let's take a close look at Faith. Hello, Faith. Faith is our sacred cream in the tent. TERPYZ mutant genetics. I'll tell you what, she's drinking more than anybody and looks absolutely fabulous with all of her buds. Now, Mrs. GrowDaddy. I'm going to show you what she didn't do in the tent. Look at all these stems I have to clean. They're just going. I'm going to have to go through this whole tent. Look at all the stems. Do you see these back here? Do you see all those buds down? Now let me look in the front. And I'm sure I got plenty in the front I can show people. Okay, because what we're going to end up doing, you guys. So here's one in the front right here. Here's a. Now I'm going to go down every single one of these branches. Do you see this branch that I'm holding? Get back a little bit so you can see Mrs. GrowDaddy. Now we've got over here. At each node, we've got something starting. Okay, that's just a little something I pinched off that's coming back. Let me nip that off. But these things you can really see. Look at these lower. Do you see these lower bud sites? Look, you got a good site. But look at the whole thing so they can see the whole thing. There you go. Now, I'll tell you what, we don't like this, because you know what this is?
Larf.
Well, it maybe not. Genetics sometimes will make them hard, but we don't like betting on, we're not bettors here. We want a sure thing. And
Vegas aside.
Vegas aside, we want a sure thing. Look I'm taking it all the way up. Look at that. I've taken all these buds off the whole. So we're not gonna have anything growing along the stem. We're only looking at these top bud sites right here on the very top. And as you can see, every one of them, I'm gonna be busy in here for hours. I'm gonna be busy in here for hours, Mrs. GrowDaddy. We'll be peeling these off.
Sorry, I kind of phoned that in.
We'll be peeling these off all the way up to the top. I know you guys think I'm crazy, but by the end of the grow, you guys have to come back and watch, because by the end of the grow, I'm gonna have probably 5 to 6 ounces of dense bud, no larf. We're not doing larf anymore. I gotta go through the whole tent. Look at this. The whole tent I gotta go through. I also have to, what I also have to do is, as you can see, get down level, and let me show what I'm doing here. Look at these. These are up higher, right? In the back. Mm-hmm. I wanna bring them down. I want to bring them down to here, because we got these buds all growing down here. We want to keep the canopy the same. So all these ones that are taller, we're going to bring down. And how we do that is, we'll take a bud, and we want to kind of want to play with the husk so it doesn't break, right? We don't want it to break, because we're going to bend it over 90 degrees. And this is called super cropping. So we kind of get it, and we kind of play with it a little bit until
twist it around. You kind of feel it snippy snapping.
Yeah, and you kind of you're kind of pinching it a little bit and really kind of breaking that husk, where it's just going to flip over real easy without breaking. See? Look at that. See? And you break that 90 degrees. And this is not. That's
not LST.
No.
That's super cropping.
That is super cropping. Okay, and I'm going to do that to all these girls on the top. Now look, get back and look at that branch so I can show you. Now get back and look at the canopy, and I'll show you what I did. Mm-hmm. See? I took that down to the canopy level. Of course, that's going to come up a little bit, but it's going to be up here, and I'm going to lower it down quite a bit. And it's going to be just like that, okay? And I'm going to do that with the rest of these girls and get that canopy level for the week and straighten this mess out. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I could do this all day. I could sit here. These guys don't want to see all this, but I'm going to be peeling off all these upper buds and anything on the stem all the way down to the lollipop. I'm going all the way down, making sure I have all these little buds picked off, because I want all the energy up to the top buds, because they are going to be producing my dense buds up on the top, and we're going to get plenty of them. We're going to get plenty of them. I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are used to seeing all these plants with these long buds on them. The problem I've been having with these long, maybe everybody else has a different luck or something, because when I grow out nice buds, they look beautiful, but I wind up with a bunch of larf. And I just said it again, Mrs. GrowDaddy. I said the word larf.
Look how frosty.
It really, is there frost?
Look.
You know what? This grows really stinky too. There's some frost. So now we're starting to get trichomes on them. So now's the time to bring down the heat, of course. Let's take a look at her canopy real quick, Mrs. GrowDaddy, right down here. And this is also what I'm going to do to her today. Okay, you're going to see me do this to all the girls. Look at all this growth underneath here that's big. I want the canopy up here. So I'm going to start doing this today. Look, really quick. Look at this. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start taking off everything. I can do this. Look at this. See? I'm doing this. But see the stuff on the branches? Look, we have bud sites right down here. Mm-hmm. Let's take off those leaves.
Oh, she is stinky.
Do you see this? Yeah, she's getting stinky. So I'm taking off all these bud sites that are all the way down the stems.
Daddy, I don't think she likes that.
And I'm also going to probably find a few suckers as I go through here. I'll take the sucker branches off. But look at all this growth. You guys get the idea what I'm doing. I'm taking off, see all this new growth that's come up since and I'm taking off any new growth that's coming in down here. And our plant has stretched up. So that means our canopy's stretched. And we don't need all this growth underneath here. So this is like the final defoliation, if you want to call it. I don't consider it a defoliation. I consider it just upkeep.
Maintenance.
If I was here all week,
this would have been done.
Well, and it would have been done on a slower scale. I would have picked a few leaves here, a few leaves there over the last week. I wouldn't have had to just pick them all off in one day. And we wouldn't have even called this any kind of a defoliation.
Sorry, ladies.
Yeah. So you guys come back and see these next week. You'll see this canopy,
all cleaned up.
You'll see the canopy all cleaned up, and you'll see the lollipop. Because I'm not going to sit here and do this to you guys during the whole thing. In fact, let's go take a listen. Faith is looking absolutely beautiful, and she's drinking more than anybody else in the tent. And so that means a lot to me. That just tells me the health. I'm going to get some really great buds out of her. Let's take a look at her neighbor in the tent, Hope, our vanilla Pulao. Hello, Hope. Our vanilla Pulao from TERPYZ Mutant Genetics is looking absolutely marvelous in the tent. And I got to tell you guys something. She's an absolute superstar as well. But you can see I'm going to need to do a little super cropping on her as well. Look at all the bud sites. Mm-hmm. Oh, she's got a level canopy already. There's a couple of them that are like this one right here. I got one. Maybe I'll do, a super crop on one or two of them. But most of her canopy is pretty good already. So, Miss GrowDaddy, you're in there, aren't you?
I put a lot of curlers in.
Yeah, and I'm trying to do this with one hand. See, and you know what? I super crop, so some of those stems up here are really hard.
Oh, wow.
And they're hard to almost break down without breaking them. So there you go. See, and I kind of break her over 90 degrees very carefully where I don't break her. And then there it is.
Yeah.
That's a super crop, you guys. She's going to grow up and help the canopy. It's just the last bit of training. I'm going to do these girls a little super cropping on a couple of them
Is that
to bring them down.
Broken? Like what?
Oh, I busted her. I broke her, but she's going to be okay. I didn't, you know, I'm doing this on camera. I'm trying to do it quick, and it's just, it doesn't work for me doing it quick. I got to come down here and, you know, I'm gentle, Mrs. GrowDaddy. You know, I got gentle, soft little paws.
Yeah, right.
But you can also
She's
see.
not as frosty. Look.
But look at all these. Look at these buds all the way down the stems. Look at this stem down here on her. So you've got all these buds going.
That's me being bad.
Right here. Do you see this one?
I know I didn't take.
Do you see all those buds? Those all have to come off, Mrs. GrowDaddy. I'm going to be in this tent all day today, Mrs. GrowDaddy.
Oh.
But that's okay. This is the last time we're going to do it. Normally I would have picked these off a few days earlier when I saw them. But we've got the top 3 nodes, but look how close they are. Do you see how close they are? They're right on the top. I'm going to let those go. I'll decide I'm going to let that one go because the node's so close. But that's like the top 3 nodes. It's just right there.
I think you should take it out. Remember, we're not.
No, I'm not. That's fine. Trust me, Mrs. GrowDaddy. I know what I'm doing in here, Mrs. GrowDaddy.
That's right.
I'm in here to prove.
Look at you. You're the captain.
I'm in here to prove myself to everybody, including myself, because you know a lot of motivation for this is competition with with the way I have grown in the past.
It's like golf, right?
It's like golf. You try to perpetually try to beat yourself and get a little bit better every time you go out and play. And they're incremental amounts that you improve. And I think I'm doing the same thing in the grow room. I still feel like an amateur, but I am coming to it with a lot more confidence now and not as much anxiety. I don't have any anxiety, Mrs. GrowDaddy. I feel like we're going to trim these things to the top and we're going to have nothing but dense buds. Looking beautiful. Absolutely looking beautiful. Vanilla Pulao. I'll tell you, Hope, you're gorgeous. The whole tent's gorgeous. Look at that canopy, Mrs. GrowDaddy. Look at the canopy. The canopy itself is absolutely beautiful. Oh, let me show one more thing because I did this today too. Look, I had to put one of these in today on her because she was lower than the girl next door. And the reason why I don't scrog is for that reason. When you're growing different genetics, your plants are going to grow different. They're going to stretch different. It's not a good idea to try to scrog this unless you have the same genetics. The best way to grow these is like this is how I feel, that you try to fill out a canopy like you would if there was a scrog, because remember, we're only getting light from the top, not the sides. This isn't like growing outside. So I don't grow any Christmas trees. I grow like I have a scrog without a scrog. Best way to put it. And without a scrog, I can move the plants up and down so they're all getting the light they want and keeping them all happy. This tent is looking absolutely the happiest tent in the world, though, I'll tell you that, Mrs. GrowDaddy. I mean, they are absolutely look, and I want you to take a good look too at the top. There's no burns. There's no tip burns. This is what I've been inching my way towards with my amendments.
The soil. Getting
the soil right and, adjusting my amendments.
This might be it, baby.
This might be it. We have no tip burns. I want to point out we have very few red stems. We have, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, although on this grow, I think we're watering a little, keeping it a little tighter on the water, which is helping our stems not turn red. They say that's one of the reasons. Light can also turn your stems red. I think we're doing a great job in the tent. I think the plants are very happy looking. They're healthy looking. Let's move on to tent 2 because this tent is looking absolutely super duper. Let's look on to tent 2 and see what we're doing over there. Come on. We've made it to tent 2 in the grow room, and I'll tell you what, these plants are doing absolutely beautiful. We have 2 genetics and two different breeders in this tent. We have Honor, which is our WHAM strain from Rocket Seeds, and we have Grace, our Cinderella 99 from Quebec Seeds on the right. And these girls are looking fabulous. I had to raise Honor today too. You can see how much. Look at her. She's so much taller. She just didn't stretch. Okay, so she didn't stretch. So we've had to adjust her to get her the same light. She was down here today, and I was going, Miss GrowDaddy, she's not getting enough light down there. Hello, Honor. Honor is a WHAM strain from Rocket Seeds. She's supposed to get over 35% THC.
37.5.
Is it 37? Oh my God. So she's supposed to be pretty strong in THC, so we can't wait. She's just a bush. I'm gonna have to go through her today, and I'm gonna have to look, and then dense. I have to trim out all the stuff that you didn't get to.
Oh,
I think
this is the one that freaked me out. Like I started actually nipping off those things, and I just got so overwhelmed with this one.
I will not get overwhelmed. I'm gonna clean her up, and I'm gonna give her some air in there, maybe stretch her out a little bit. I'm gonna do some things to her, but nevertheless, look at all these buds on top. They're all flat on top and they're all getting the same amount of light. They're where we want to be. We just need to clean the tent up. Miss GrowDaddy's been in here doing a great job, but you know what? The details. The details. The devils are in the details, and we need to clean off these stems and get these top buds. You know, all the energy going to the top buds because we don't want any, what? Don't make me say it. Oh, ugh, it's just the
L word.
Larf. Larf, we don't want any larf. We don't do larf. Look at the transportation. I said
That's transpiration.
That's transpiration. They're just soaking wet in here. Look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're transpiring. And they're looking absolutely beautiful. What can I say? Let's take a good look at the canopy, how flat it is, Mrs. GrowDaddy, because those buds are looking like they're coming. They're coming along a couple days behind the other tent for some reason, as far as the size of the buds, but they're doing actually good. And you can see, I'm not going to need to lollipop this at all. Everything is looking really, really good as far as the lollipop. I just have to go down each of the stems.
And take off those things.
Yeah, but like, look at that. That's fine. See how those top 3 stems are? This one's fine. Some of this, but I look at this one. I could say not fine. You see how not fine that is? Look at all those buds going down the stem.
Oops.
Yeah, and if I could just reach in there and just take a couple off just because I'm touching it. Look at those. You see here. Take off that one. And we'll leave those top couple nodes on the top like that. And that's all we're leaving on her. I'll also go completely down the stem this afternoon when I can look down the stem, and I'll take off any nodes I see on the stem. I'm gonna keep these legs. Look at these legs, Mrs. GrowDaddy. She's got beautiful legs, doesn't she? But she's also got some growth. See this new stuff coming up? Are we kind of dark down here? We're kind of dark down here. I gotta clean up the canopy and get some light, but look at all these nodes on the stems. Look they're all over the place on these stems. Well, we're gonna take them all off. We're gonna clean up all that, Mrs. GrowDaddy, okay? Let's go take a look at Grace right now, our Cinderella 99 in the tent. She's right next door, and she is a story in herself, and I broke so many branches on her. Hello, Grace. Grace, our Cinderella 99 from Quebec Seed Company, is looking mighty fine, but I'll tell you what,
she's got a brittle branch syndrome.
What I've done though, I've done some what do you call it? Some
first aid?
No, when I've been the branches.
Super cropping.
I've done some super cropping in here, got down some of the branches. I got some more super cropping to do in here. I got to be very careful, and I can't go fast, which I tried to do earlier, and I ended up breaking a few branches. I broke a few just off. She doesn't need that. She's looking beautiful too. You can see all these plants. None of the tips are getting burnt. The color on all the girls looks absolutely beautiful. I'm telling you, I think I found the soil. I think I found the right soil, Mrs. GrowDaddy.
Keeping this recipe.
And she's got some of the same things going on the other girls do, as far as buds all the way down the stem, as you can see, like on this. We've got buds going down the stem. We don't want those buds. Those buds are going to be larf, and you want to know what?
Taking energy.
Yeah, it's taking energy, and those buds, when they come out, they could be larvae. In fact, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be larvae. They're not going to be hard. So, you know, I hate trimming it so much that I don't care if I get 1 ounce of plant. But I'm not going to get 1 ounce of plant, Mrs. GrowDaddy. I'm going to get 5 to 6 ounces on these plants of dense bud.
Aiming for 6.
And they all grow on the very, very top of these buds. We don't have anything going down the stems. They don't look as nice. I mean, hell, when you see those big colas, when you're looking, they just look like they're just going to be just great to smoke. But a lot of times those big colas, that's all they are, is big They're just big, beautiful flowers.
They're such a pain to trim too.
Yeah, not getting a lot of trichomes on these 2 girls yet. We've turned the lights up on the other girls a little faster and a little earlier. These girls we've been a little slow with. We just got them.
Oh, and I can't wait to use that new microscope you got.
Oh, I do. I have a new microscope to check out the trichomes, which is kind of cool this season. We wore out our other one because we got it caked with trichomes and we couldn't even see out of the damn thing anymore. So I bought another one of those fancy little microscopes.
Electronic microscope.
Yeah, which is pretty fancy. Let me tell you what, Cinderella 99, Grace, you're looking absolutely beautiful in the tent. And I'll tell you what, you're gorgeous, and you are a swan. You've come out to be a swan in the tent. We're waiting for some of these limbs to heal that I bent over, and we'll bend over a few more. As you can see, it's a little scary when you bend those, but that is going to flip up. All these are going to flip up and be on top by tomorrow, and that's it. That's what we're doing in the tent this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let's take a look at the girls, because I'll tell you what, Grace, you're looking beautiful. Honor, outstanding. You guys got this tent covered. It's full. It's beautiful. Let's take a look at tent 1, because I'll tell you what, these girls are knocking it out of the park. Knocking it out of the park, and I'll tell you what, you girls are going to keep me busy today. I can see that. My God, the amount of buds and the cleaning that I've got to do in this tent today. Anyways, you girls have been terrific. Love you guys. That is our porn segment. Come on! Hey, thanks for coming by for another epic episode, you guys, because I'll tell you what, these girls are into their 3rd week of flower, and I'll tell you what, they're looking beautiful. Nice canopies, but we're gonna make them a little nicer. You know, we're gonna make them a little nicer after the show. I'm gonna clean them up a little bit. Yeah.
Clean up my mess.
They're looking really good, and they love seeing you guys. And you know what? I don't think they minded you spending some time with them down here. It looks to me like they were starting to get used to you. You know, they haven't seen much of you down here during the week, and they're kind of probably a little scared in the beginning when they saw you. But I can tell by looking at these girls that they absolutely loved you.
Yeah,
they love you, Mrs. GrowDaddy.
I think I fell in love with them more too. Yeah.
Got a great growing here, you guys, and I got to tell you guys, you got to come back and see these finished because I'm doing it, and I'm cocky about it this season, putting all these buds up on top. Okay, I'm confident that I'm going to get nothing but dense buds and no larvae. And if I'm wrong, shoot me, but I'm not going to be. I have done 9th grow. I've done so many experiments, and every time I do this, I end up really happy, and I keep on trying to get those longer colas because why? Because they look great on camera. But I'll tell you what looks great on the scale and in my pot box, you know, in my stash box.
Those dense nugs.
It's the dense nugs. And you know what else? When I give those dense nugs out, I don't feel like I have to make up a bunch of excuses. Like, I'm sorry, I just didn't get much. This is really all I really got, you know, I just didn't get much. Oh, I don't want to have to do that another time. And you know what? Last season,
last grow was pretty bad.
The couple before that, barely any larvae. Oh, I said it again. It gives me a headache just saying larvae. Love you guys. Hey, stay with us for a few minutes because I'll tell you what, the bloopers are going to be outrageous. They always are. Love you guys. See you guys next week for episode 12. Episode 12 already. Oh my God. Love you guys. See you next week. Come on!
Nervous. No, I'm gonna get a taste of my own medicine.
I'll try to laugh. Come on, let's go.
The 11th season of shit.
No, you made it to episode
8 of this.
Start over again. Start over again. I'm gonna interject a few times because you missed it. And you're gonna get through this, Mrs. GrowDaddy. You look beautiful today.
Thank you. Oh, I know that.
You look.
Okay. All right. Anyway, but anyway.
That's right. You see, you got part of it gone. Yeah. And this is tent 1 with our 2 mutant genetics. We start TERPYZ. Thank you. Anyway.
All right.
Okay. All right. All right. How about our light segment? Come on. This is our TERPYZ mutant. It's not mutant ninjas. TERPYZ
mutant genetics.
Okay.
Anyway, don't let me say anymore.
Okay.
Throw something at me if I say anyway one more
we'll
fucking
do.
time.
We'll do. No more anyways.
All right.
That is how it's done.